Neil, you tell me, have you ever thought of what it might be like to be a blind person?
I saw a film called At First Sight many years back. Val Kilmer was in the film. I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen. And after seeing that film, I, being an actor, tried so many things. Like there was a scene of him, where he gets his eyesight back, and he has a glass of water, and he has to pour the water in, from a jug, and he still puts his finger to see that whether the water has reached the brim or not. I mean, that has left an impact on me. And we are so used to seeing colors, we're so used to seeing things, and suddenly if that's not there, I mean, God forbid, it is scary.
Have you seen At First Sight?
No, but I've seen Scent of a Woman and some other films.
At First Sight is frightening because this man gets
Gets
back
back
his
his
sight,
sight, yeah.
but he can't
He's-
deal with
Deal
it.
with it.
He can't space.
There's one
recognize his
shot of
space.
him walking into glass.
Yes, he's so right. It's one of the most frightening films I've seen. But do you know anyone who is either completely blind or visually challenged in any way? No. Did you try to meet someone?
We met a couple of people who we would spend a lot of time with, because it's not only about me observing, but also very important for them to see how they should react.
The rest of the cast.
The rest of the cast, the rest of the gang. For Pradeep Dada, how he should direct me, how he should direct the others, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, how much liberty can you take.
Exactly, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have to still realize that it's still a performance. So a lot of things might look okay to the naked eye, but it may not look correct on screen.
But in our country, in terms of language and all of that, we have this tendency to say very offensive things without thinking twice, like anything, andha hai kya? Yaar, oh, lula langada, the way people talk. Have you, first of all, I want to know whether you were sensitive about these things before this film. And if not, I want to know if you've become sensitive about it now.
I was always sensitive towards this, also because I was exposed to it right from the time I was a child, because the school that I was in, one section was obviously for all of us, and then there was a separate section for the special children. Yes, and that has taught, and I see this so much in all the Sophia girls. That's my school. We're very, very sensitive to these kind of people because we've been exposed to that right from the beginning. So I was always sensitive towards people who are challenged in some way, but it's a lot more now.
Yeah.
In what way?
A lot more.
In what way? What are the things you will now never say?
No, it's
casually.
not. It's not like I never. It's not like I said things earlier, but I just today I feel like when I see a blind person today, I
Feel
want to
more
cry
responsible.
because I just know exactly what they're feeling or what they're going through. I don't know. It's a strange sort of connection. It's a strange. I feel like I know them, or I feel like they should know who I am
You
because
feel
of what
them,
I've done in
basically.
in the film. I don't. I can't explain.
So when you were going through the experience of Lafangey Parindey, was there any point at which you broke down, not because your character needed to in the film, but because you realized how tough it is to not be able to see?
Sure, but I think different people have handled it in different ways as well. I know a lot of people don't consider it a handicap. They just, just accept it the way it is and move on in life. And there's some people who obviously get affected by it. Again, then it depends. Are you born blind or is it accidental blindness? So it depends on a lot of things, and also the person's personality, whether they're able to deal with it. Are you a fighter? Are you someone who stands up and says, no, I'm not going to let this affect me? Or are you someone who says, I'm whatever, I can't do anything anymore with my life now?
Yeah, but you said all of us are sensitive, and yet you go to buildings in our country, you go to public places, there are no ramps. It's something as basic as that a wheelchair bound person has to be carried upstairs, which is really a dent on their dignity. Why are we not yet sensitive about things in that manner?
We were never prepared mentally to see that deep. Then we were still establishing our own uh, the foundation in a certain way. Now I think with education, education becoming stronger in India, I think these things are definitely being looked after. The new constructions, if you see now, people are definitely taking care of all these things. Yeah, we can just create an awareness about it
Create awareness about it, help people around us,
and request
and
people
in
to,
whatever way we can. And,
yeah,
and the rest, in terms of if you're talking about facilities, it's really up to the higher authorities to do something about it.
Very often in our Hindi film industry, when there is a character in a film who has a physical disability, the film is about that physical disability. Is Lafangey Parinde about a blind person, or is it just that she happens to be a person in the film who is blind?
She happens to
happens
be
to be a
blind.
person who's blind. It's about characters, and essentially, like we earlier said, it's a love story.
At
It's
the end of the
about
day, it's not about the blindness. It's not about.
the fight.
It's not even about the fight.
It's not an action flick.
Nope.
Nope.
It's
It's
not
a
a
love.
sports film.
It's a love
It's
story.
a love story.
At heart, it's just a love
Yeah,
story.
it's a simple love story.
It's like Julia Roberts says to Hugh Grant, right? I'm just a
Nottingham.
girl in love with a boy.
Absolutely.
Asking him to love me back.